थोड़ा सा भैया बाद में कर लीजिएगा, निकलने दीजिए।
कट मार लीजिए।
And always a pleasure to hear a new speaker coming in, giving us their thoughts and ideas on various subjects. Today we are very fortunate to have an eminent person with us, Srimati Meira Kumar, who has set an example for others. She was born into a very powerful and influential political family. Her father, Babu Jagjeevan Ram, was a personality of his own, with a career of his own, one of the longest serving ministers in India. And not only was he minister in a very large number of ministries, but he was also a very lucky minister. Whichever ministry he went to, that ministry did extremely well, including the 71 war when he was the defense minister at that time. She did her schooling in Dehradun and in Jaipur, did her college education in Delhi, where she did her master's in English and also acquired a law degree. And then also being from such a big political family, and also married into another very big political family. We are very fortunate to have her husband, Mr. Kumar, here with us, whose mother was the first woman cabinet minister in Bihar. And despite all this background and so on, she felt that she must go through the regular routine and see world for itself. And it's for this reason that she appeared in the competitive exams. In 1973, she joined the Indian Foreign Service and served there for a considerable time, initial posting to Madrid, followed by London, and a stint in Delhi. And then in 1985, on a request made by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, she entered the political fray. And it's amazing that 5 times she became a member of parliament, and including the fact that she represented Delhi in parliament from the Karol Bagh constituency. Now during this period also, she became a cabinet minister in the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, and really went out of her way to help the poor and downtrodden and bring up the people who are below the poverty line, something very close to her heart. And then I think the pinnacle of her career and achievements was when she was unanimously elected the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Speaker of the Lok Sabha with a membership of 544 members of Parliament from 34 political parties. And we've seen on the television screens some of the kind of uproar that took place. And I must commend her for the way she controlled events there, made sure that things moved in the correct direction. And she evolved something which is called parliamentary diplomacy. So now I request Srimati Meira Kumar to kindly let us have a few highlights and indicate to us what was really this parliamentary diplomacy which enabled her to make the parliament function so smoothly. Srimati Meira Kumar.
Thank you, General Ruban. Friends, I consider it a privilege to address a distinguished audience. All of you have records of outstanding achievements and rich experience in your respective fields. I have known General Ruban for a long time. He represents the best traditions of valor, integrity, and caliber in the Indian Army. So when he invited me to give a talk in this prestigious club, I had to readily accept an answer. We live in the largest democracy of the world. It is so because of our growing population, which is otherwise considered a Malthusian nightmare. It is good that it is the largest democracy. But I think, and you would agree, that we should strive to be the best democracy. When democracy was adopted by many of the countries which attained independence immediately after us, it withered away there, but it has taken deep roots and flourished in the Indian soil. It has been sustained and strengthened. The ordinary men and women of our country who subsist on the meager fruit of their labor, who live on the fringe of the society, the laborers, the farmers, the landless tillers, the marginalized, the meek. I would like to today pay a tribute to them. The nerve center of this throbbing, pulsating, vibrant democracy is the parliament. Its building of red stone, so awe-inspiring, so majestic, was designed and built by the legendary architect, Latin. Have you any idea why it was made circular? A perfect round? Have you any idea? I think it was done to avoid any backdoor entry. On 9th June 2009, 57 years after Parliament was set up, it elected a woman speaker. It elected her unanimously. And there was general curiosity about who she was. Within the country I was known, but abroad they wanted to know me. The national dailies carried front page headlines that Meira Kumar had entered the portals of history. To tell you the truth, I felt that I had entered the test of fire. As is customary on such occasions, the Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, Leader of the House Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Leader of Opposition Shri L.K. Advani escorted me to my chair where pro tem speaker was sitting, the senior most member who administered the oath to all the entries. As I took my seat, I realized that I had become the custodian of a great institution. There were constitutional provisions, rules, conventions, directives and rulings given by my predecessors, and also my own discretion that I had to use for the discharge of my duty. I also realized, sitting there, that 9 cameras were focused on me of Lok Sabha TV. And my every move, I didn't realize this move also, every move and every word was being telecast live. My work was on television, and there were no rehearsals and no retakes. But that did not really bother me. My major concern was that the moment I sat on that sacred chair, so painstakingly created by a traditional craftsman, with a beautiful canopy above and the national emblem carved on top of it, I had to become absolutely impartial. I had to be neutral to all the political parties in the House, including my own. The authority of the Speaker emanates from his or her impartiality. The Speaker is expected to carry all the cross-section of the House with her. It was a tightrope walking, a very fine balancing act. What was truly humbling, I found on that occasion, was that all the leaders of different parties, here they showed the picture of my father, because he was also a pro tem speaker in 1984. What I found very humbling was that all the leaders of political parties in the House welcomed me, felicitated me. And in response, deviating from the past practice, I gave my acceptance speech in Hindi. I write poems in Hindi. See, this is my family, that I'm in the office of the Speaker. My family is always by great support. So, because I write poems in Hindi, so my speech was midway between poetry and prose. है तुम्हारी पलकों पर जो इंद्रधनुष, उसका रंग मेरी आंखों में तैर रहे, तुम में और मुझ में सपनों की एक ऐसी साझेदारी है. There's a partnership of dreams. We all have a common dream. That is what binds us together. That's the strongest bond. So after presiding over the very first sitting of the 15th Lok Sabha, I attended the very first press conference as speaker. And there they asked me, how do you feel as the first woman speaker of India, of Parliament of India? I said, it has established beyond an iota of doubt that our Parliament does not only legislate, it is also an agent of social change. Then he asked me, man, you have a very soft voice. How will you manage? So I said, I use something which is called microphone. Then they asked me, how will you manage, ma'am? General boss, I think they mistook me for a commander in a battlefield with a booming voice. And ladies and gentlemen, I firmly believe that talking softly, preferably in whispers, should be made a national policy. So many problems. I can tell you from personal experience. It will solve so many problems. The composition and the nature of the 15th Lok Sabha should be made the subject matter of research for political scientists. This House had 38 parties. Once I met the British Speaker, John Bercow. I asked him, how many parties do you have in your house, in the House of Commons? He thought for a while, and then he said 7. I'd never met a speaker in 5 years, and I met many. Never met a speaker who had more than 10 parties in his or her house, and here I had 38 parties. And then there was the ruling coalition, which was so precariously positioned. And the supporting parties, the parties which supported the government from outside, were extremely temperamental. And the opposition was intensely aggressive. There were scams which rocked the House. There was this issue of Telangana, where I saw even the members of the ruling party streaming into the well. And then if you remember, those days the atmosphere was charged with frequent, large-scale protests in the very heart of Delhi. Tempers were running high, emotions were beyond control, and in the midst of all this, I had to run the House and also ensure that there was no constitutional failure. Then I immediately started, without losing any time, I established a personal rapport with each and every member of my House. I was constantly in touch with every leader in my House. I was having meetings, innumerable meetings, every day, several of them, either in my chamber in Parliament House or at my official residence, with the result that there never was a constitutional crisis. The railway budgets, the general budgets were passed, were discussed and passed as per schedule. The President's address to the members of the Parliament was held on time, regularly, with the dignity and grace befitting the Parliament of India. In the case of Nirbhaya, how we were all under shock. And I remember I was presiding at that time. The entire House was one in condemning it, expressing its pain and anger. And in record time, law was enacted concerning it. We also made some heartbreaking legislations, like the right to education, food security, formation of Telangana, banning of manual scavenging, and what is nowadays very much in use, land acquisition, and so many others. I was very fortunate because it was during my term that the Parliament celebrated its 60th anniversary.